Go. Okay, pre-show planning has taken us to an interesting place here on the Pete the Planner experience. We were just talking about what's the dumbest thing that you own that you're too lazy to get rid of. Now, this is not going to be on-air content here on the Pete the Planner Show. This is going to be behind-the-scenes podcast exclusive, joined by Damian Dunn. No relation whatsoever. We've tested it. We haven't tested it. We've looked deep within our family trees. I don't think we've done that either. He's here. And then Kristen Elanius is here. There's a 0% chance that we are related. My mom just left me a voicemail, and I'm thinking, okay, should I play her voicemail that she just left me on the air?
No.
Mm-mm.
Yeah, I think that's ill-advised. Hi, people.
Hi, Pete.
Hello.
Big Rick Swink makes it in. Dame, what's the dumbest thing you own that you are just simply too lazy to get rid of?
I've got a number of sets of speakers in my ownership, that like house speakers. Like I've got the set of speakers my parents bought shortly after they were married, ancient Pioneer speakers that look amazing, but they need a little bit of work. And I've also got another set of speakers that I bought right after Mrs. Advice and I got married, and they aren't hooked up to anything. They're just sitting around looking for a good use, but they take up a lot of space. So, yeah, that's probably the dumbest thing that I own.
Dame's speaker of the house is what. Wait, Caitlin Elanius says hello. Man, she's in a chipper mood this morning. Kristen, your sister says hello.
Hello, Caitlin.
Kristen, what's the dumbest thing that you own that you haven't gotten rid of yet?
The dumbest thing I own or the dumbest thing in my possession? Two very different things.
Wow. Oh, this is about to. We bring Caitlin back on the screen. I feel like this is about to get like very personal. What do you got?
The dumbest thing in my possession are 125 of these NASCARs. I have 125 of those. That's the dumbest thing in my possession. But the dumbest thing I own, I have 2 dining room tables, and I regularly do not even eat at a dining room table. I am working still, or I'm in class, or I eat at my desk more than I eat at a table, and I have 2 dining room tables. One's just in my garage.
You're a baller. So they die cast NASCAR cars?
I guess. I don't know.
They're investments, Pete.
Do you play with them, Kristen?
This one's pretty lame. It's a piggy bank, but it fits like 1 quarter, so no.
You don't get on the floor and just make noises like they're going around an oval.
I have a track in my basement. Yeah. After work, you'll catch me.
Dumbest thing in my possession is a baby crib.
You never know.
We still own a crib that's like broken down, but and look, we're not going to fill it with babies. I'm going to be honest. That ship has sailed. So I think I win. Like, Dame, you could fix the speakers. Kristen, you could maybe have children that would enjoy playing with toys. I'm not filling a baby crib. Like, it's basically like a pig pen if we were to get like a small like sugar glider or something.
See, I have one of those too, but a crib, not a sugar glider. But my father-in-law made it, so I that one's sticking with me forever because that's going to be for grandbabies.
Yeah, I just got a crib, and it's like, hey, are we just saving it for my kids? Or like, are we gonna be those people who's like, oh, we'll put it back up with the grandbabies? Is that who I am as a person now?
At this point,
Jameson's got some good ones because I think that covers a lot of us.
All-time greatest listener, Jameson down in Texas. Among the dumb things in my possession, 2 VHS players, a giant box of CD cases. I have all of these things. About 500 blank burnable CDs. Jameson, I threw out a rack of 100 burnable CDs over the holidays and about 2 dozen cases, 2 snow shovels, and he does live in Texas. Well, thanks to global warming, you're going to need those shovels soon. Kristen, let's make Dame and I feel old. Kristen, in the 80s, there were two types of recordable devices that you would record things onto and then watch back. VHS was one. What was the other main competitor to VHS style recording?
And arguably better.
And arguably better, but no one acknowledged it, other than, here's the funny part, local broadcast affiliates. They use that medium.
It's video and audio, or audio only?
Video, like a VHS tape.
Well, do you know what a VHS tape is, Kristen? Let's
I know
maybe
what a
start there.
I had a VCR in my room when I was a kid. Okay, I know.
Oh, wow.
Okay,
Um,
so what was the other version of VHS? What was the other format?
I have no idea. I didn't know there was another audio and video format, I don't think.
Okay, well, you're a young Betamax, or Beta, as it's typically
No
called.
idea.
Kristen, have
Yeah.
you ever used a rotary telephone?
I don't. I own one, but I've never used one.
Kristen, have you ever sent a fax?
Ooh,
I've had to send faxes, but I've made the boomers in my office send them on my behalf. I don't know how to use the fax
That
machine.
seemed hurtful. Dame, I like this game. Kristen, have you ever been at a restaurant where there are phones at the table and you can pick up the phone and call other people's tables?
That's not real.
It's
Oh, that
entirely
was my
real.
entire childhood.
What? That's not real.
It's real.
I don't believe you. I think no, I don't believe
No,
that
it's
one.
absolutely Max and Irma's, man. That's have you ever watched a movie on a laser disc? Not a DVD, a laser disc.
It looks
I
like
don't
a giant vinyl, but it looks like a giant CD the size of a vinyl record.
Mm-mm.
Okay, Kristen, did you ever watch the Care Bears cartoon?
Mm-mm.
Yeah, that would have been before her time.
Yeah. Kristen, have you ever seen an episode of Who's the Boss?
Mm-mm.
Oh boy.
Have you ever listened to an audio tape, like a cassette tape?
Oh, yes. My first car, I had a Looney Tunes cassette tape, and that was when I was 16. I'm not that young.
Have you ever eaten goober grape?
I don't know what that is.
Oh my gosh. Dame, you know goober grape, right?
I don't know if I do.
It's peanut butter and jelly in one jar.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Oh, I do know
Yeah.
what that is. I didn't know
Okay.
that was a brand.
Yeah, goober grape.
Mm.
That's not Dame's, my fetish nickname for Dame. I don't know why I said fetish. Okay.
I like nostalgic stuff though. I have a record cabinet in my house from like
Can you not call my childhood nostalgic? Like, I mean, like that. This is
sorry.
getting hurtful. Like, this is almost like an HR actionable conversation at this point,
I'm
Kristen.
sorry. That I didn't mean that one.
Have you had the
No.
experience, Pete, of driving down the road and seeing a billboard for a radio station, like advertising oldie music, and they've got bands that were popular that you remember and really still enjoy?
They're like Nirvana, and it's like
Exactly.
Yeah, I like Nirvana.
Yeah.
Okay. Let's do a show. What's the first segment? We've done some show prep. Kristen, can we do your car problem first?
It's
Or
not
not.
really a problem. It kind of evolved from the idea of us doing a segment of financial advice we give, but we don't take.
Oh. Okay, let's do the email first then.
Okay.
Let's build some momentum, as they call it in the biz. Rick Swink's trying to take your side. I think my mom
Yeah,
asked me
Rick.
if they can put me down as an emergency contact at their doctor's office. Like, that's what she just left that voicemail. And it's like, yeah, go ahead. I mean,
Do people ask for permission to do that?
apparently my mother does. Should we get her on the phone?
Wouldn't Mrs. Planner really be the better choice for that?
No,
Yeah,
I
you
mean,
didn't even answer her call asking, what if this was the emergency? You didn't answer.
okay, I'm going to back up for a half second here. Dame, Dame, you can answer any way you want. This is not a leading question. And this may devastate me.
Oh no.
If there's a massive emergency, who do you want involved to solve the problem? Your boy. I will rise to occasion. I have no emotions. I will get in there and just fix it.
So what I'm hearing is I can list you as executor in my will.
Yeah, go ahead. Fine.
Right
Sure.
on.
All right. Done.
Oh, you know what? I'm going to take that back. There was this
Too late.
time. No, seriously, there was this time when I first started writing for the newspaper years ago, and I was on the radio. I would have random people email me. This happened 5, 6, 7 times. Random people asking me to be the executor of their wills and
Really?
estates. Yeah. They're like, I feel like you've got, good judgment here. And I'm just like, hey man, no. Bad idea. I have very few really good skills. Problem solving in an emergency is one of my finest skills. I am the modern day MacGyver, the hairless MacGyver. The hairless MacGyver. There it is. Kristen, have you ever seen MacGyver?
I know who MacGyver. I've never seen it, but I understand the premise.
Dane, was there
Tuesday.
any
Yeah.
better show than MacGyver when you were a kid?
I mean, it was pretty stellar. It's got somebody has to own the rights, right?
Oh, no, it's a remake. I think it is a thing again.
It is, but the good one, Pete, not the remake.
The good one, I'm gonna find it this weekend and watch it. It was unbelievable. Now, trivia for you. Kristen set this one out. Who is, and I might be making this up, so this is how this goes. Dame, who is the primary villain, multi-season villain on MacGyver?
Yeah, I don't know. I was more of a Magnum PI guy.
I believe the guy's name was Murdoch, and it was Willem Dafoe.
Really?
That's my memory. I'm looking it up right now here on this financial radio show.
It's not a financial radio show.
Not at this point. no.
Willem Dafoe. Oh,
That's amazing.
I could be wrong though. Willem Dafoe, MacGyver. Oh, hold on. Everyone relax. I don't see results for MacGyver.
It's great.
This good. Can you guys do something while I? Oh,
As
okay. You know what? I will deal with that later.
okay.
Okay.
Why did we get 1-star rating on the show? Pete, good.
It is beyond my comprehension. I
I have
don't
no
know.
idea.
Can we just pause the show so I can look this up? In 3, 2, 1. This week on the Pete the Planner Show, we answer your money questions. Here's how the show works. You email us, Ask Pete, PeteThePlanner.com. That's Ask Pete at PeteThePlanner.com. And my panel of experts will answer the question. This week's panel includes Kristen Elanius, die-cast car collectible expert, and Damian Dunn, king of hairlessness. Hello, people.
Hello, Pete.
Good day.
We
I
are on
guess.
the air. I forgot. Hello. Good to be with you. I'm also the prince of hairlessness. Why are we starting the show this way? Okay, Dame, I need to read the email question that's come in before I lose it because I'm starting to crack here. Good day, Pete, Dame, and Queen Kristen. Kristen, you've really taken on this regal presence on the show. People love you. People love you. What's that like?
I appreciate it. I love it when you can really tell that someone's a listener of the show. I think this email supports that. So
this question is about choosing a financial advisor and about balancing friendship with personal financial goals. Dame, you loved after-school specials when you were a kid, right?
Who didn't?
Well, this sounds like one. My wife and I have decided that now is the time to get serious and hire a financial advisor. We feel that we've done a decent job managing our finances to date. I'm 40. She's 38. Man, this guy's a real cradle robber. Borderline creepy. We are saving liberally into retirement and to our young kids, 5, 29, blah, 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 blah. Now comes the part where we choose the advisor. You all have given great advice over the years on the subject. The thing that arises here is that I have a good friend who could be a great candidate We get together every now and then to catch up, and we often talk about his job and financial advice in general. He has never once pitched me.
Okay.
I don't know whether
Okay.
he's
Both.
pinched him.
Yeah.
He may have pinched him. To be fair and full disclosure, I was at a Starbucks this morning and I saw one of our investors there. I did tickle him. Just a little tickle on the
didn't.
back. I did. But it was like a friendly tickle.
Back to the email.
Yeah. What's happening? Anyway, he's a CFP, blah, 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 blah. So a bunch of questions. And here's where the questions actually come in. I did give him just a little friendly tickle. Is it generally a bad idea to hire your friend to be your financial advisor? So then there's some other things there. Then number 2, on the other hand, he might be fairly offended if I hire someone else or ask him to recommend someone. And then number 3, there's also the possibility that if he and I have a serious detailed discussion about hiring him, I might find that his company's investment approach or fee structure are not the best fit. Okay. Whew. Dame, I love this topic. You were a financial advisor. I want to start here. Did you ever pitch your friends? Or
I don't know
pinch?
if I necessarily pitched my friends, but I told them what I was doing, and if they wanted to talk, I'd be happy to. But it wasn't like a, hey, let's go out for dinner and let me tell you exactly what I'm doing. This was more of just a, hey, this is what I've got going on now. This is who I'm targeting. Here's what I think I can help people accomplish. If you're interested, I'm happy to explore it further. But there was no hard sell.
I don't remember pitching my friends. Now I say it that way because in my memory, I was not a pitch my friends guy, but that's my perspective. Maybe I was, but I don't think I was. So, but because I think this is a personality thing. Kristen, do you think you would be the type of person, if you were a financial advisor, that would pitch your friends?
I don't know how many times I have to remind you people that I was a financial advisor. It was
No, I'm
just
saying
short-lived.
present tense.
Oh, I thouyou
Okay,
forgot
well,
again.
or answer the question, did you pitch your friends?
No. And in fact, even in the space that we're in now, like I do part-time tax prep and people will be like, "Oh, can you do my taxes?" No. The answer is no.
Jeez, successful
I
side gig there.
I appreciate you and our
I'm sure.
friendship. No.
Pete, I think one of the reasons you didn't though, and that I did, is because our compensation structure is different. I mean, when you started being a financial advisor, what were the likelihood that your friends would have been able to do a whole lot with you?
Well, I mean, the beginning part of my financial career, I mean, I made money from selling products within the financial plan. I wasn't always fee-based.
Okay.
So, I mean, theoretically, I could have sold them life insurance or mutual funds or whatever else we're doing. So, I just want to get that part out. The other part is, if your friend is in the business, should you feel obligation to work with them? Were you ever offended, Dame, if one of your friends had another financial advisor?
No, not at all. Not because financial relationships are sometimes really tricky to cultivate. You've got to find somebody who's a good match for you. And once you do that, unless there's a really good reason to move on, that's not something that people want to do just because maybe a different friend is also in the business. I can't hold anything against somebody for continuing an established relationship.
Kristen, your short-lived career as a financial advisor, it was in your younger 20s. That's when I was an advisor too. I have to admit, early, if my friends said they had someone else, I was just trying to build my business, so it was a little bit frustrating. But as I got older, I didn't care at all. What was your experience? Did you care if your friends had a different advisor?
I think that would be accurate. I, at the very least, appreciated when someone would bounce ideas off of me. And maybe that's the follow-up question here. Maybe the friend hasn't pitched because maybe they don't want to mix their friendship and their business. And they just like being that like sounding board for this person. That could be the reality too. They might not want to muddy those waters.
Yeah, I think here what I think my conclusion is to this emailer is, I don't think it's a bad idea to work with your friend. I think and don't worry whether they pitched you or not. I think at 40 years old, everyone involved is mature enough and experienced enough to deal with whatever comes of it. I don't think this advisor, if is also that age, I don't think they would give a rip if this person worked with someone else and then talk to them about it.
Yeah, I think the potential biggest stumbling point here, and it is for most of the relationships, is going to be investment performance. And if you can get your head around investments are going to do what they're going to do, and as long as you're happy with the strategy and you're confident in the strategy, okay. But where the values really is going to come in and show itself is, where is that advisor helping you in other parts of your financial life? Are you getting value out of the relationship in those areas? Because sure, the investments can make a big difference, but as long as you understand the method and the strategy that's being employed, and you're comfortable with it, and maybe it's exactly what you would do, you just want somebody else to watch over the funds and make maybe some strategic changes here and there, then the investments kind of handle themselves at that point. Where are you deriving the value from that relationship in other areas?
Yeah, Kristen, I got to think Dame's exactly right here, that this is actually about the firm's approach and strategy. And that's maybe where this emailer should start. Just going to their friend and be like, hey, I'm starting to evaluate financial advisors. Can you tell me about how you all do it? I'm just trying to learn. And then at the end of that conclusion, end of that thing, he can say, oh, that's helpful. And he can play it off like, I'm not going to do that. Or, hey, are you taking on new clients? This is somebody, I think he can, it's just a mature conversation. I think it's a lot easier to have at 40 than it is at 24, 25, where everyone's just trying to form their career.
I totally agree with that. And that comes right back to, if the relationship has to be a good fit on both sides. And if it sounds like they're good buddies. So if you hear more about the investment philosophy and you're thinking, whoa, that doesn't really align with my goals, the advisor might not want you as a client in those situations either, because they want someone who fits what they believe in.
I feel it. I love it. Fantastic. All right. So what the conclusion is here, Dame wants to be everyone's financial advisor here on the show. He is soliciting you. No, I'm just kidding. He does not do that. And Kristen will not do your taxes. It does. I mean, we have 20 seconds left in the segment. Does this not harken back to your early days as advisors, everybody, where you're just like trying to get clients and it's just like, it's so awkward, and it's, boy, I don't miss those days. All right. Coming up after the break, does Kristen have a transportation issue? Possibly. Find out next. I'm Pete the Planner.
Can we
All
do
right.
advice? Oh,
No, go ahead. What do you got?
can we do advice that we give and don't take, and then that can lead into Kristen's transportation issue?
Yeah. I have been corrected in the chat. The person who played the Murdoch was Michael DeBaris or Barris. So I stand corrected. I did say, if memory serves me right. Turns out it did not. All right. I also want to tell everyone here that award-winning financial podcast host of Marriage, Kids, and Money, Andy Hill, emailed me this week, a friend of the show, listener of our show. By the way, if you have kids and if marriage and money are something that appeal to you, listen to his show, marriagekidsandmoney.com, as seen on CNBC, NBC News, MarketWatch, Kiplinger. No one cares. Business Insider. Anyway, he emailed me saying that he agreed with my hot take about sports gambling last week. That's why I'm plugging him so hard.
If you start listening to the show, you may hear a very familiar voice in February or March on one of the episodes coming up. So,
our other friends of the show, Joe Saul Seahigh from Stacking Benjamins, reached out and he wants me to be back on the show, and I have not replied yet. I'm just being honest. I need to do that. They record at night though, and it's like at night. I'm currently,
well, they have to be quiet though in his mom's basement.
That's true. I love his show. Did anyone else hear any results of my hot takes about sports gambling? I was talking to our business development team this morning, and it came up, and they all were sheepish and did not make comments because I think they felt seen.
I didn't receive any feedback through any of my social channels, so I think you're in the clear.
I just assumed, Dame, that you had found reviews of that hot take and just refused them to send them to me because I asked you not to.
No, I would have saved them to read them now.
That I appreciate. Okay. By the way, my son Theodore Ted is at BizTown today,
Nice.
and he is the DJ of BizTown. And I just got pictures of you can't really see it. That's pointless. I just showed a camera, and I'm on a podcast. Good times. What's this topic, Kristen? Can you intro this topic? Can I just toss it to you and you intro it?
Please don't do that.
Okay, how about I intro the segment, and then I'll have you set it up from there.
Okay. I can do that.
Is that fair?
That's fair. Also, it sounds like a piece of my roof just fell off. I don't know if you heard my dog kind of bark. So I'm not really sure what just happened outside, but hopefully everything's fine.
I would assume snow slid off your roof. I'm not trying to mansplain weather to you.
Okay.
You want to go look?
No, it's fine.
Dame, $30. Snow slid off a roof, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
Feels very mansplaining, but that's fine.
Ooh. Possibly this year's best listener. She could have won last year. We just didn't give it to Andy, who appeared on that special episode where we took live questions. She notes this isn't specifically from your hot take, but sports betting and other financial problems are a big issue for the military. Kristen, I mean,
that's probably true. Yeah.
Yes. Okay, everybody, let's do the next segment here.
Okay.
I keep pulling up the wrong app on my phone. Here we go. In 3, 2, 1. Back on the Pete the Planner show. Last segment we talked about, should you hire your friend as your financial advisor? And because this show is so diverse in its financial topics, we now move right on to another one. Introducing what we will be talking about next is co-host of the Pete the Planner show, Kristen Elanius, Director of Education at Your Merlin. Kristen, what are we talking about right now?
So I think we all can think of some examples of advice that you were given that was kind of a do as I say, not as I do kind of thing. So I think that would be a great segment, is financial advice that maybe we give that we don't necessarily always take.
Wow. Okay. So we are exposing ourselves figuratively. It's a podcast. I mean, a radio show. I mean, we can't literally. Dame, does something jump to mind? Is there a piece of advice that you give on a regular basis or have given in which, you know what, it's what's good for the goose is not good for the gander?
You're going to be shocked by my answer, and then it will make sense pretty quickly.
Okay, I'm ready.
Budgeting.
No, I mean, it doesn't shock me, but go ahead.
Yeah. So, and you know this because you essentially subscribe to the same theory that I do. When we speak with somebody and we're trying to help them get their financial life on track, there's a process that we like to follow or at least recommend, where people, track expenses and really go through a nice, more traditional style of budget. I'm old at this point, and I've gone through this a few times, and my life is pretty predictable on a month in, month out basis. And I have pretty clearly defined goals that I make sure get met every single month. So my budget looks more like a lazy man's budget, which is what both Pete and I if I'm wrong, Pete, I think you probably still subscribe to this method, where we make sure those goals are hit every single month. We make sure all of our other spending is roughly in line to where it should be, but then we just kind of let the chips fall where they may. So we hit those goals, and we don't overspend our income on a monthly basis, but we don't get too tied up about where that money is actually being spent on a month-to-month basis.
All right, Kristen, reaction? Are you shocked? Are you not mad, but just disappointed at Dame on this take? What are we thinking here? Like, what's the biz?
I think that's fair. I think at some point you earn the right to be able to do that. And I would subscribe to a similar approach if I wasn't such a micromanager of my own life. I mean, if I would just let my budget do what it's supposed to do, mine would be the lazy man's budget. But I'm obsessive and I check it every day.
I feel it.
That's your smoothie, right?
Yes. Budget smoothie.
All right, Kristen, what is the piece of financial advice? And I think it is car related. That
Well,
what do
I
we
have
got?
several. I have several.
Oh,
I
well,
tell
good.
you to do a
It's-
lot of stuff that I don't do. So, I would say my first one, I can't help it. My first one is that I don't have a will. And I would tell someone that that's an issue in their financial life if they don't have one, but I just don't. Oops.
Well, thanks for asking. I will be the executor of your will.
You heard it, Caitlin. Give him a call.
Okay, so what's the sticking point here? I mean, first of all, I want to be respectful and very honest with you. Are you looking for accountability here? Or are you looking just for like a trust tree situation?
No, like I don't know why. I mean, the bulk of what I have, I mean, prior to June, just about everything I had was payable on death. So, I mean, it just seemed like it really wasn't that big of a deal, even though I know it's a big deal. Now that I own my house, or the bank owns my house and I rent it from them, I know that I should probably do that. I just don't.
Kristen,
gonna
what would
get-
it
yeah.
what
Go
would
ahead,
it
Dave.
take? What would it take today to get you into a will?
I mean, nothing really. Like I would do it. I just don't make it a priority. It's one of those things and I'm so guilty of it. Like I tell other people, be careful, this will become a back burner item. It'll become a back burner item, and it is.
Kristen, if I paid for your estate plan, would you get one?
Oh my gosh. I mean, I would, yeah, but I don't think it is a big deal. It's a big deal. It's just on the back burner.
I like the idea that this topic has backfired on Kristen.
Like,
I want to be honest. Like I'm in the midst of redoing my estate plan right now. Like I have a will and trust, and I'm in the midst of redoing mine. So like, I don't know. This isn't. But again, Kristen, our lives couldn't be any more different, right?
There it is.
Yeah. And
Right.
for you, I just think about who is going to get these dozens of die-cast NASCARs in the event of your death.
Caitlin.
You know.
The instructions at this point for Caitlin are call Pete and Gail. Good luck.
Yeah. Since this has now turned into all of your deficiency, Kristen, what other things do you tell people to do and you don't do? Because I'm ready. I got a list.
I don't keep all of my emergency funds separate. I keep some emergency savings viewable and accessible to me. I keep a little bit in cash, and then I keep some in the same place where we keep our 401k.
I love that. Actually, we're putting a pin in that topic because I actually want to start the third segment there because I would love to talk about emergency funds of like what we really do. Because I think all
Okay.
three of us are going to be pretty different. Dame and I, again, tend to be the same.
Same.
Although I wouldn't be surprised if Dame has a big stack of paper in a safe that no one can open. But that's neither here nor there. Kristen, move on to what's another thing that you do that or don't do.
If someone came to me and told me that they have the financial goals and aspirations that I have, and then they also told me that they have as much equity wrapped up in a vehicle that they don't drive as I do, I would tell them to get rid of it and drive something of much lower quality.
Okay, so Dame, do you understand what any of that means?
Yes.
Yeah. So she's got a vehicle right now that she owns outright that is worth a pretty good dollar amount that she really doesn't need at this point. She could downgrade her vehicle situation, be perfectly content and not be out anything, and have a whole bunch of cash at her disposal to invest or pay down debt or whatever that may be. So she's got more equity tied up in her vehicle than she needs to.
Do we? I mean, I'm not playing dumb, although you guys may be concerned that I'm officially dumb after I ask this question. I know car dealers talk about equity in a car, but do you guys really think about car as having equity?
I don't, unless it's a situation where somebody needs to kind of dig themselves out of a hole. I mean, if they've got, 30 grand in a car that they could get rid of and replace for 15, back in the old days when you could buy a good used car for $15,000, and put 15 towards, a credit card or an emergency fund or whatever the case may be. That's a potential solution for them. But in some cases, that if they're already hitting all their other goals and this 15,000 just may speed them up, I'm probably not going to look at it that seriously.
Just the idea that my Kia Sportage could have equity just seems laughable.
Well, I personally view it as equity because I would sell it. If I were between a rock and a hard place, I would sell it. I would buy something supremely cheap. I just am very privileged and fortunate that that is not my reality. Could it move my financial life forward? Of course it could. Of course it could. And that is a internal battle that I circle back to pretty consistently, is like, Kristen, what could you do with this money if you would get rid of it? So I view it as an asset, but only because I track it regularly and because I would sell it if I had to.
I'm going to give more consideration to this after the break, but I'm just going to plant my flag. I do everything I tell people to do.
Oh,
I will give it further consideration after the break, and feel free to find it. But I do everything I tell people to do. Next on the Pete the Planner Show, we'll see if that's a truth or a lie. I'm the liar. You guys, I'm being honest here. I'm trying to be honest. I'm also realizing that I have a bad memory. But what, Kristen? Go ahead.
I can think of 2 examples right off the top of my head.
Okay,
These
can
things
we save it for the air?
Well, the
Save
underlying.
it for the air.
Okay.
And nothing like shushing a coworker.
Save it.
I don't want to cross
And
the
don't
line
be
here.
confident. Shh.
I don't want to cross the line here, Kristen. But if you were here right next to me, I would just shush your lips with my hand. Just
Okay. All right.
Dame,
okay.
have you ever shushed someone else's lips?
Other than my kids?
Not your wife.
Not your wife, or no, your children count. Like joking as a wife. Wait, have you ever another human, not that you related to? Have you ever shushed them with your hand?
It's possible in high school I might
Right.
have. I because that's what stupid high school boys do. Just reach across. Shh.
I was at my daughter's cheerleading game last. I mean, what do you call when you go? It's someone's basketball game, but she's there flipping around. I went to that last night, right?
Yeah.
And afterwards, she was saying how she's an 8th grader, and she was saying that they were doing a TikTok. I don't know what's going on. And she goes, and the 7th grade basketball players weren't even laughing at us. And I thought, and I said to her, I was like, Ollie, no 7th grade boy is going to make fun of an 8th grade girl. You do understand that, right? She's like, yes, they would. I'm like, no, you are misreading this situation. Kristen, right? Like, no, now that you are an adult, you realize that no 7th grade boy would make fun of an 8th grade girl.
Yes, but I thought we weren't going to talk about gender on the show anymore.
No, I will talk about gender on the show. That is not that is not like a hot take that a 7th grade boy, like,
No,
hey,
you're right.
I'm not going to get to a place where I cannot bring up gender on this show. I will now also try not to be a sick misogynist generalist, but I think that is not an example of that. Okay, Kristen, you ready to call me out on the air?
I suppose.
Let's do it. In 3, 2. Oh, wait, what do we have after? Oh, then we're gonna do the savings thing. Okay, neat. Okay,
Mhm.
3, 2, 1. Back on the Pete the Planner Show. Before the break, I said, Dame, Kristen, thank you for admitting that there are certain things in your financial life that you tell others to do and you personally don't do yourself. And then I made the assertion that I can't relate. I can't relate because I have made it a point to only practice what I preach. So Kristen said during the break that there are 2 examples that make me a liar. So I'm willing to hear those. Kristen, why am I Pete the liar?
It's the 2 examples have the same root cause. You've just changed your approach on some things to make it okay that you do them.
Okay, okay,
Example one.
interesting. Okay, I'm gonna stop you right
Okay.
there. I'm gonna stop you right there. This is arguably true, right? Like
Oh, yeah.
this is arguably true, but I will have a really good reason why whenever you say what you're about to say. Go ahead.
Okay. Well, I remember when I first started here and I was trying to get an overall vibe for the show and the workplace, and I was listening to old episodes of the show. You used to have a pretty like drawn line in the sand about leasing vehicles, and
Yeah.
you've done that.
Okay. And so shall I?
I get why you did, but I'm just saying that, like, go ahead, Dane.
I'm going to defend Pete's honor. I've heard him suggest leasing to people.
But but you are both right, actually, Kristen. There was a time, and I think I never want this to be a learning moment for my colleagues. Like this show's about the listener, but I will say, giving advice to the masses for now 18 years publicly, 18 years. I have developed as an adult in that time, 18 years, right? So there are things that I thought to be true and I gave as public advice because I truly believed it to be the gospel according to an idiot at the time, right? And it just evolved. So that is to say, I don't think a lot of personal finance situations are as binary as a lot of talking heads tried to make them. And I think a personal finance expert lacks empathy and realism when they have these hard lines because it's their brand. And I've just backed off of that, right? So leasing is potentially one of those. Credit card points are another one. And I would also say, anytime I've given that advice publicly, I still was following that advice publicly. When I was telling people like, hey, I think credit card points are dangerous, I wasn't using credit card points. I have backed off of that and I use credit card points now. I've backed off that leasing's a bad idea because I started to see where it makes sense. And so I do it. So what's the second example? I would love to hear.
Damien, do you know what it is?
I was going to say credit card points, but was least those were the two that I had in my mind. But
I'm excited. I love this topic, by the way, Kristen.
We bring this one up. We've brought this one up in the past. Is
hair care products?
No,
travel sports. Okay, yeah. I thought of that one too.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
It's evolved.
Absolutely.
Right. So I if you go back to, and maybe we actually talk about this next week. I would love to like go back to the article. Like there was an article that caused a flurry and fury of activity. Oh, how long ago was that, Dame, do you think?
Probably a year before I came on, so 6 or 7 years ago.
All right, I'm looking it up right now. Let's see. Travel sports are financial disaster. September 18th of 2013.
Oh no.
Here was my we can go to my take a different day, but here was the caveat to that. If you aren't taking care of your other financial goals, that was it. That if you are not funding college for that kid, yet you're playing for him to be in the third soccer league in a small community, you're hurting that kid, right? That still believe that. But to Kristen's point, yeah, we pay a lot of money for travel sports in our house. I daresn't tell you the amount. I don't even know the amount. Call me privileged. I don't know, but I know that I fund my financial goals. So I don't feel like my take has changed, but I'm willing for you to tell me I'm full of it.
No, I think you can absolutely defend your position. You grow and you evolve, and like you said, financial situations aren't binary. It's just that someone who doesn't listen consistently might know you for some of these takes, and these are some things that you do. So I was just trying to not be kind.
No. You're fine. Dame, thoughts?
I know roughly how much we spend on travel sports, and it is a lot of money. But you're exactly right. You got to make sure all the other goals are being taken care of. You're not putting too much weight. And by that, I mean pressure potentially on the kid as well and damaging that relationship down the road. I mean, maybe currently and down the road if things don't work out the way that you have hopefully envisioned for them. Let the kids be kids, let them play, let them experience, let them get the um, experience of travel and developing relationships and performing at a maybe a higher level than what's available locally. And if you can do that and hit all your other goals, then everybody's probably going to be better off for it.
What's interesting about that article, this is thanks for bringing this up actually. What's interesting about that article is I only examined the negatives of travel sports, and I unapologetically said I am not considering the good parts because this is a criticism piece, right?
Mhm.
I love what travel sports have done for my kids in terms of their character and understanding how hard work translates or doesn't. I'm quoting from the 2013 blog post right now. Two things I want to note. It says, your child ends up paying for their youth sports experience with student loan money. Like that was it. That was my point. I stand firmly behind that. Now, Dame, you know this. You're a travel sports parent. That is a place of privilege. I'm saying that as someone that potentially is in the minority, even though I live in a community where that could be the majority. Like, how do you get your head around that, knowing that when your kids are going through travel sports, the people they're competing against may be in this situation?
Yeah, and I mean, you sit around and in my case, a pool and look at the other families, and yeah, sometimes I you know, I don't know, Pete. I don't know if you know this. Swim meets can be very very long.
They're the
And
worst thing in the world,
yeah,
Damien.
you're looking for time, things to do to kill the time, and I know you and I are fond of playing the game in the airports of who does that person look like,
Great game.
stuff like that.
Great game.
But times you sit around and say, okay, well, what's their financial? We start to make up financial stories for people and trying to envision them. And sometimes you're like, oh man, that could be a pretty rough situation. I don't know. I clearly don't know. I haven't ever talked to these people. They're from 2 states away, but it gets conflicting at points, knowing that their kids are getting a great experience, but at what cost?
My daughter has been a gymnast for 11 or 12 years now. There are shirts, I've told you this, shirts sold at gymnastics meets that for dads to wear that say, I'm broke, my daughter's a gymnast.
Mhm.
Right? It is part of the culture. Whew. Kristen, how excited are you? Are you ever going to be in the world of travel sports? Maybe just a volunteer ref? Like, are you going to be, is that your
No.
thing?
Volunteer ref.
I went to a high school basketball game this weekend, and that was enough for me. Nope, I couldn't do it.
Of course, we always stream on Facebook Live, and I've got some youth travel parents, youth sports travel parents weighing in. The friend of the show, Brian, he and I live the same weekends. Kristen, were you an athlete back in the day?
My sister and I swam for a little bit when Irish Aquatics came to the area. So I wasn't good, but yes.
Fantastic. All this is to say, on President's Day weekend, I will be driving to Memphis for a soccer tournament. All right. Coming up after, that's the truth. Coming up after the break, biggest waste of money of the week and the news right here on the Pete the Planner Show. I'm Pete the Planner. Kristen, I appreciate the call out. I honestly do. And I'm glad he did it, not only because it makes for a good show, but you are right in the sense that those are takes that have evolved.
Oh yeah.
I think my thing is just like when I gave those takes, I followed those takes.
Mm-hmm.
There's two ways to interpret that. One, I've matured, or two, I was a complete blowhard idiot, right? That didn't understand nuance. But I would also say, like, no one cares about any of this, by the way. This is, and Damien will get this. This is why the Pete the Planner thing, the growing the brand of Pete the Planner, doesn't appeal to me. Like, I don't, you have to have such hot takes all the time.
Mm-hmm.
And you have to ignore nuance. You have to go to haves and have-nots to be that level of personal finance expert. And I realized that along the journey, I was just like, that's not for me. I was going to be a CEO of a company. Like, I don't know. That's where I'm at. But you're still right.
Can open.
I full
But
disclosure,
it's a good discussion. Yeah.
full disclosure, I am headed to West Lafayette this afternoon for a swim meet this weekend. So
Full disclosure, I've got an indoor soccer game tonight that I'm going to, a travel basketball game tomorrow I'm going to, and a gymnastics meet on Sunday that I'm going to. You know, Kristen, how are your weekends?
I do what I want, really.
Our coworker Gigi, the delightful Gigi, she's a big brunch person on the weekend. She's in her mid-20s, goes out with the girlfriends. They're doing brunch at a different place every weekend. And I just listen and I'm like, what is that life? Because that's not mine.
yeah, Pete, if you had time for hobbies, what would you do?
I used to fish.
I know.
Yeah. That was a good time. My bass boat's gymnastics lessons. That's the next sweatshirt. Okay. That seemed pointed.
Yeah, I did.
Little
That
bit.
seemed unfair.
A little bit.
Okay. 3, 2, 1. This week's biggest waste of money of the week right here on the Pete the Planner show is the District Vision Titanium Touring Bicycle. Founded in 2016, District Vision built its rep on running apparel and accessories, becoming a leader in the space. Now, District Vision is expanding into cycling with the new District Vision Cycling. That's what they called it. It's a good name. And alongside the launch capsule of eyewear and apparel is a one-off titanium frame touring bike. The 55-centimeter frame was... Oh, Dane, what's your bike frame? You're about a...
I think we're 56.
Yeah, I'm a 52.
Yeah.
Peter's inseam's smaller. The 55-centimeter frame was hand-built by master fabricator Yoshi Nishikawa of Qualis Cycles in Japan and features a disc brake and E-tap compatibility. Yanko of Los Angeles contributed 5 custom touring bags with waterproof zippers, with the front and rear bags using Nitto and King racks with a central bag that hangs below the top tube. The SRAM Access Eagle X01 rear derailleur, custom Aaron narrow wide chainring, GSC and Sugino crankset, and SRAM red carpet fiber shifters have been hand polished for classic look. The Distinct Visions Titanium Touring Bike is available through its website. For those that are not following the live stream, this looks like a silver 10-speed.
Yes.
With Ecto Cooler green touring bags strapped to the tubes. So, Kristen, this is a clothing company, District Vision, which was founded in 2016. This is their first entree into the touring bicycle world. What do you believe this bicycle costs a brother?
I always have to make some sort of disclosure or hedge when I make a guess. And I feel like this one's no different because I do know that bike prices can range.
Yeah.
The range can be huge. So I'm going to guess in the middle of what I would call the mid to high range. Is it a $5,000 bike?
Okay. Now, Dame, you are, I could go past tense. I can go present tense. I'll let you decide that. You own a road bike.
I do.
Okay.
It's pretty dusty right now, so you can draw your own conclusions.
Well, it's winter.
You could set up a trainer, Pete. I mean, it's possible to do those things and ride indoors.
It's
anyway.
your disclosure. You do what you want.
I've been around bikes for a while. I remember getting fitted for my road bike and one of the techs wheeling a bicycle in, and it was gorgeous, absolutely gorgeous. Italian. He was just finished putting it together for one of their customers. And he said, this bike will never see the road. It's going to hang on somebody's wall as a piece of art. And that was an $18,000 bicycle.
Mm-hmm.
That was aluminum. This one's titanium. It's got E-tap. It's got all that. This is at least a $24,000 bicycle.
$30,000.
Yeah.
Oh
Now,
my.
what's crazy about this to me, and again, I have a road bike, and it's just like, blah, 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 and I'm with Dame. Like everything Dame just said is probably where my guess would have landed. This is a clothing, apparel, and accessories company that now makes bikes, and their first move is a $30,000. Like that's where this gets super dumb, and that's why it's the biggest waste of money of the week. Dame, what's in the news this week?
According to data from Credit Karma, 30% of Americans are reliant on their tax refund to make ends meet. This is especially true for 40% of Zoomers and 46% of millennials surveyed. Looks like we're all preparing for a potentially rough economic season too, because 37% of respondents said they'll use their refund to build up savings, and 31% said they plan to pay down debt. Now, this is especially potentially troublesome because I've seen a number of articles out saying, trying to prepare people that say, be ready for a smaller tax refund this year. So we've got a lot of people that depend on tax refunds, and they're not going to probably get the size they are anticipating. Kristen, what do you think?
What was the percent of people?
30%.
No, it's higher
No
than
way.
that.
It's a
These
lot
people just
higher.
weren't willing to admit it.
No, it was 30% of all Americans, but 40% of Zoomers and 46% of millennials.
It's higher than that.
So much higher.
Okay.
What do you think it is, Dame?
I take the data for what it says, Pete. I trust big data. It's higher. It's higher. It's higher.
I mean, it's 55 to 60% of my estimation.
Oh yeah. I was gonna say it's at least north of 50.
Dame, I don't know if this is one of your news stories this week, but I'm going to read a news story to jump in front of you. But I'm going to feel bad a little bit if it's one of yours. Rent prices have dropped the most in these 5 U.S. metros. Why it's cheaper to rent than buy in many markets. So this article goes on from CNBC to go through the 5 places where rent has dropped the most. But also in the article, they say we're 5 places where there's been the largest increase in rent. Number 1 on the list, Indianapolis, Indiana.
Oh no.
Median rent at the end of 2021 was $1,300 Hoosier dollars, and at the end of 2022 is $1,700, a 30.8% increase in Indianapolis, Carmel, and Anderson, Indiana.
And Anderson, how did they get lumped in?
I don't know how Anderson got looped into Carmel and Indianapolis, and I daresn't. Once again, I say daresent in honor of my wife's grandma, who was this beautiful Mennonite pie baking woman from Northern Ohio, who always said daresent. I always thought it was just like the cutest little word. And so I've now summoned it multiple times today. But I daresent guess why Anderson and Carmel and Indianapolis were grouped into one category.
Because it made the data look better.
Dame, was that going to be one of your stories this week?
Nope. No, you're safe.
Largest annual decrease, Memphis, Port St. Lucie, Cape Coral, Palm Bay, Florida, which includes Melbourne and Titusville, and Phoenix Mesa, Arizona, Chandler. What else is in the news?
The Department of Justice and a handful of states are accusing the tech giant Google of abusing its market power through its tech that controls how the U.S. digital ad industry operates. Google's tangoed with the antitrust enforcers before. The DOJ brought a different lawsuit against the company in 2020. But this suit is significant for several reasons. A, it's the first time the Biden administration has launched a major challenge against the tech giant. And B, the Department of Justice has rarely pushed for companies to break themselves up in recent decades. On a side note, Nancy Pelosi coincidentally sold millions of dollars worth of Alphabet stock right before the announcement. Oh, wait, I meant a month before the announcement. She somehow got lucky again.
I believe you mean Paul Pelosi, Damian.
Whoever.
I'm kidding. It's false equivocation. We all know that Congress trading before big news is one of the biggest crimes in all of America.
Yeah, there are bills that have already been, I think they probably are every year, honestly, bills that just get pulled out of the drawer, dusted off, and submitted to try and prevent this. But surprisingly, they don't go anywhere, Pete.
You know what's weird? Like on this show, we've talked about this numerous times. And like, yeah, this time it's Nancy Pelosi. And by the way, she's infamous for this. And there are people on the other side of the aisle that are just as bad. So that is to say, collectively, whoever you love or dislike, We all agree as American citizens that this is a horrible thing, and it goes nowhere. It's really frustrating.
Yes. A Tennessee mansion listed for sale for $1.5 million went viral this week, mostly because the Zillow listing used a photo of it literally on fire. And in case you're wondering if buying homes is still hard, that house is already under contract. The hopeful buyer plans to vlog his restoration process, riding the property's wave of internet virality. I don't know, nobody knows, and milking that charred house for as much as content as possible.
Kristen, do you follow the Zillow Gone Wild on Instagram account?
Oh, you have to.
It's good.
Kristen,
Okay.
come on. I know you're an influenced on Instagram. And so,
Usually, yeah.
yeah. So, all right. Fantastic. What a show. Here's what we learned this week. It's okay to have a friend who's a financial advisor. And as 3 former financial advisors, our preference was not to pitch our friends. Doesn't matter one way or the other. Some of us follow our own financial advice here, and apparently I'm paying for Kristen's estate plan. And travel sports is fine if you've got the money to pay for it, and that is a privilege take. Sending you good vibes, because good vibes are all that's in the budget. I'm Pete the Planner. This is the Pete the Planner Show. That was a good summation of what we've just done.
It's very nice.
Mhm.
Maybe. Okay, y'all.
Did you ever watch the Craig Ferguson show, Pete?
I did, but I don't remember anything about it. But I did.
They always ended the show with like, what did we learn on the show tonight, Craig? Segment where it kind of gave me vibes of that. Not saying you're as funny as Craig Ferguson, but it just gave me vibes.
I might be. Did you ever watch? Thanks, Brian Pinkins. Dude, Brian and I live the exact same weekend. I mean, he's fun though. That's the thing. Like, he's fun. He has friends. They hang out. People like him. Other than that, we have the same, like, we're looking on each other's Instagram. It's like, oh, his daughter's at a gymnastics meet. It's like, oh, hey, I'll be at that same meet 2 hours later. MacGyver. I feel rough about my MacGyver misses.
You were young.
Man, it was just such a Murdoch, Michael DeBarris, an international assassin and master of disguise. Where can you watch MacGyver now?
That's what I was saying. Who's got the rights to it? It's got to be out there. It's probably Hulu. I bet it's Hulu.
Right. Watch now for free on Pluto TV.
What is that?
Or Paramount Plus and Amazon Prime. You can watch it for free.
Interesting.
Kristen,
I don't buy that.
Big question for you.
Oh no.
Arsenal or City wins the FA Cup today, or round 4 of the FA Cup today. Who wins the match? Manchester City or Arsenal? Both at the top of the table of the Premier League, but of course this is the FA Cup, which is different. Today at 3 p.m. Who wins, City or Arsenal?
Do you know how far out of my element I am right now? City.
Dame?
I think Arsenal's got it today.
Kristen, if you had to name 3 Premier League teams for $30 worth of booty,
you can do this. Yeah. You can do this. He just gave you 2, and he wore the hat last week. You can do this.
Go ahead.
Can I say something?
What?
That's revealing. Please don't hate me. I don't know what the Premier League is.
That's okay. That's my point. Yeah. Don't make my point. 3
okay,
Premier
well, you
League
just
teams.
said Manchester City,
okay.
Arsenal,
and
I don't know what hat you wore last week. Did it have a bird on it?
Yes,
it did. I was giving you the bird. You remember?
I don't remember.
Not the puffin, but the.
It was
Dame
penguin.
Tottenham.
I have no idea.
Was that Dame?
Tottenham. The
Tottenham.
Whatever.
Tottenham.
I'm not.
It looks like Tottenham. Yeah, it's pronounced Tottenham.
Do you know where I live?
You live in Uber.
Yeah, it's a
French suburb of Uber.
It's a very Indiana pronunciation of that town.
All right. Fantastic. Well, that's it. I have to go to the bathroom, so I'm gonna go. I had a lot of coffee. I don't know what to tell you. Is that a weird way to end a podcast?
Return your mom's phone call.
True.
Should we play it on the air?
No.
She's
Why
gonna
are you
say
both
where
saying
they're at.
no?
She's
What
gonna
if there's
say where
medical
they're at.
information?
Yeah,
That
or
seems
like she
sense.
says what clinic they're at.
Yeah, no, don't do that.
He's looking at the transcript.
I wanted to know if I
Okay, I'm probably gonna stop. I'm not gonna do it. I'm not gonna do it. I mean, expensive
Oh.
Mother's Day. I'm not doing it. Stay getting money.